Tubers, Tibets, and of course my favorite group of all, the crazy people. In this video, I'm going to have a friendly argument with another expat, and we're going to talk about two topics. We're going to talk about Social Security, and we're going to talk about Medicare. On the Medicare part, one of us thinks you should keep Part B, the other one thinks you should just drop it. About Social Security, one of us thinks you should have your check deposited and remain in America. The other one thinks that you should have it deposited here. Stay tuned if you want to find out which one of us thinks what, and then feel free to make a comment as to what you think. All right, here comes my goofy little video. All righty, kids. So like I said in the introduction, I'm here with Mike, and there's a couple of topics that we want to discuss because we disagree on them, and that's okay. So he has his opinion, I have mine, and we all know what opinions are like. And so feel free to give your opinion in the comment section. So as we get going here, Social Security, Medicare,
yeah.
Part B. That's the first bone of contention.
Should you pay for your Part B? You're living here in the Philippines. You can't use it here. To me, it's a waste of money. I canceled mine prior to coming to the Philippines. I filled out a form, and excuse me for my notes, CMS 1763, a request to stop paying my Part B Social Security.
But
my
that's
Medicare.
A form number or something?
That's a form number from Social Security. You have to fill it out, and they ask you the reason why you're going to cancel it. The most common answer is I have private health insurance, but I'm leaving the country, and that was a good enough reason for them to stop.
Do you have health insurance?
No, I don't. I don't.
Either.
Phil Health. I have Phil Health, which is a hospital discount.
Okay. So you canceled it. What is it, 170 bucks a month?
It's $174 now.
174 comes out of your check. Your Social Security check. And so you didn't feel the juice was worth the squeeze on that?
No, the penalty to me, 10%. Even if I'm here 10 years, it's going to be a 100% increase, but that's going to be $300 on my Social Security. If I'm living back in the U.S., I'll just do that if I need to.
Okay.
I'll renew during the sign-up period, which is January 1st to like March 31st every year.
Okay. Well, I hung on to it, and I feel very strongly about it because, number one, at my age, to try to get that kind of coverage for that kind of money would be impossible. If I was to call up ABC Insurance Company and look for health insurance, the premiums would far exceed $174. Number two, I have three, not one, not two, but I have three friends that were diagnosed, all three of them, before I forget, had cancer. And all three of them tried to get treatment here in the Philippines. One gentleman went to St. Luke's. They didn't even diagnose him as having cancer. So he flew back, and he was still sick. No matter what they did, he still felt like hell. Similar with the other two guys. All three of them went back to America and were treated, diagnosed properly to begin with, and then were treated, and it paid just about everything. So I'll give you three examples. One is a friend of mine that goes by the name of Biff. He is still in America. He is still being treated. It's been 2 years that he's been treated. He went into remission. They tested him again. It's come back. God love him. He's back being treated again. He said that he spent $200,000 when he went back to the States in loss of income. But if it hadn't have been for the Medicare and the Part B, he would have totally been screwed. Second example is my friend Gary, who lived in America at the time that he got prostate cancer, and he said that he paid $0 for all of the treatment that he received. And the third example is our old pal Bud Brown. Now, Bud didn't get sick, but his wife Gloria did, and she did not get cancer, but she has some other issues. Again, he had canceled it. He reinstated it. He said it was, I forget the amount.
About $300 a month.
Okay, so, oh, that's right. So it goes from 174 to 300 a month. And now she's being treated, and he's told me the exact same thing the other two did, is that they won't let him pay any money for the treatment. In fact, they sent him a bill, I think it was him or Gary, I can't remember which one, for $1,600. And he just called them up and said, why am I getting this bill? They said, sorry, sir, that's a mistake. Just throw it away. I'll take care of it. Clickety, clickety, click in the computer. So for me, I figured, you know what, if I get diagnosed with something over here, number one, I'm not a big fan of the diagnoses that people get. We discovered that with my friend Jules, our friend Jules.
What they do very poorly here.
They do very poorly here, especially in Dumaguete. They do not have state-of-the-art equipment in what is it, Manila? That's St. Luke's.
Up in Manila.
My friend Biff told me that the price of treatment there was equivalent to what it was in America, and that they couldn't figure out what's wrong with him. So he spent a ton of money with them, went to America, got properly diagnosed, and therefore I rest my case on that. So anyway, Mike's got his opinion, I've got mine. It's not like we're going to get in a fist fight over it. It's just, you know, that's the way I feel. If I ever come down with something, and I'm talking 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 4 days down the road, who knows at our age, I could be on a plane back to America, I could camp with my sister, and I could go get what I feel is better quality medical care. All right, so we beat that to death.
Well, a couple points you missed on this. Now, you do have Part A. You don't pay for that.
No.
That covers the hospital.
Yeah.
So if you show up in the U.S., you show up at a hospital with a problem, they're going to let you in. They're going to take care of you, and you have to handle the bills later.
Yeah.
My big concern is the cost of going back for treatment. You know, you got to get a place to stay. You got a fly there. There's so many things that are involved. Not everybody has a sister or a brother or a family member that you can go stay with. You might have to get a budget suite or a cheap hotel somewhere. And all these are costly, not close to the hospital. And are you going to get an appointment? You know, you feel sick, you know, get an appointment with a doctor, you have to go to your primary care doctor to get, you know, recommended to go further on up the ladder, go see, you know, somebody about your cancer, your prostate, or whatever problems you have, and if you have a lung or heart problem. So you got to contact the primary care, and this all takes time. Now, other than being in a stretcher getting put on the airplane, which they won't do. In some cases, you could be so sick they won't let you fly to the U.S.
That's true.
And the other point a lot of people make is, well, I'll just go to Guam. It's 3 or 4 hours away. Well, Guam, a lot of doctors don't take Medicare. You know, they just don't take it because Medicare sets the prices with the doctors. You know, they have a different pricing than you do if you're just paying cash. And Guam only has 500 hospital rooms.
Okay.
You're not going to the VA, beautiful state-of-the-art VA hospital. You have to go to a public hospital.
So he makes a good point. You know, if you don't have a place to stay, you've got rent, you've got airfare. In my mind, since I self-insure, I've got a little safety net set aside. I can afford a plane ticket. Could I afford a hotel or a budget suites? No. Do I have a place I can crash? Yes. So it depends on your circumstances. There may come a time where I've got a condition where I don't even want to fight it. It's like, you know, I've had a good life. I know that the prognosis is I'll either live for 6 months, or if I take this treatment, I'll live for a year and 6 months. Well, I think I'd just give up the year and stay here, because what kind of quality of life would that be?
I don't see that quality of life if you go there. You know, nobody knows what's going to happen, and we don't know how long until you need it. But if you need the money, say you need that $150 or $170 a month to live here in the Philippines and enjoy your healthy life, I don't think that should be a hindrance.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with your ability to handle money. Can you save the money for the rainy day? Or are you spending every cent you got? If you're spending every cent, keep that insurance.
Amen. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so let's move on.
Move on.
What's the next point we were going to talk about? I forgot already.
Social Security I'm a believer. I'm having my
Oh, Social Security. Yeah.
I'm going to have my Social Security check deposited in a Philippine bank account
Why?
for convenience. For convenience. Also, the process of transferring that money here every month. You know, I got to be aware of when it hits my bank in the U.S. I have to transfer it over to World Remit. They have to transfer it to my bank here. I have to verify. So it ends up being in my bank account over here every month anyway. So I'm taking the middleman out and just have the U.S. government deposit it in my Philippine bank account for me. Just an easy step for me. It's just one less thing I have to deal with. And as you get older, your mind's not so good. You know, at least mine isn't. And this is just one less thing I have to deal with.
Okay. I'll argue that all day long. I think it's a horrible idea. Well, I do liaison work with the embassy. And 80% of the issues that I get involved in with guys that are in trouble over here is due to Social Security. There is what's called a proof of life letter that gets sent out every year. Getting mail over here is, saying it's a joke is being easy on it.
That's true.
Brutal. You could have a mail forwarding service and all that, but it's got to come to the mailbox that you've got here. It doesn't come to your house. It's not like the mailman shows up. So guys not receiving that letter have gotten into quite the quagmire because they stopped sending them benefits. In fact, they think they're dead, so they stop giving them benefits. And then they've got to get all caught up. It's a zillion phone calls if you can get through. Just to me, again, that is so much hassle that it's not worth it. Just on the fact that that could happen would cause me to lose sleep at night, knowing that where's that letter, when's it coming out, where's it going to arrive. The second point is I can do the exact same thing without having to have it sent via Remitly or Zoom. I use Zoom, he uses Remitly, same thing. It's a middleman. You call them up, you say, I want to send $2,000 to myself. It sits in the Remitly account or it sits in my Zoom account until we go and claim it. I just finished setting up, took me a week to do it because it was quite the quagmire on my computer, but that's just me. I can send directly. I have a bank here in the Philippines. Let's establish that. It's a joint account with my wife. It cost me $40 to move money from my bank in America to my bank in the Philippines. $40 one-time charge, and I can move $1 up to $100,000 in one fell swoop. And it takes 48 hours for it to arrive at my bank here and be clear. Number two, my bank in America, my account is insured up to $250,000. The banks here, you're insured up to 500,000 pesos, which is 9,000.
Yeah, under 10,000.
Well, under 9. Yeah, let's just say a 50-to-1 ratio, which is easy. Right now we're getting 57, 58. But so let's call it 10 grand for the sake of this conversation. If that bank collapses and you've got $100,000 laying there, you're entitled to 10 back. And I can only imagine what you'd have to go through to get the 10.
If you're going to get it at all.
You're in a foreign country, you're a foreigner.
Filipinos are going to get money first.
Filipinos are going to get it first. That one I really strongly feel is no bueno. And I understand Mike, he wants to have it convenient. He doesn't want to hassle with, what if Remitly doesn't work? What if Zoom doesn't work?
Cut out the middleman.
What if this? What if that? My retort to that would be, my counterpoint would be, have more than one. I have Remitly, I have Zoom, I have the ability to transfer from bank to bank, and I have an ATM card. So, that being said, May and I, my wife and I, we keep a certain amount of money in our joint account here. We keep a certain amount of money in America, and then my wife's got her own separate bank account at BDO. So we could go for 6 or 7 months over here right now and never move over money. And what we've got stashed in our little safety nest will sustain us until we got whatever problem straightened out. So that's my argument there.
Well, you know, when you sign up to have a direct deposit in your Philippine bank, Social Security makes you fill out a form. It's Form 21. It's a change of address from your American address to your Philippine address. And they're going to send you a piece of mail, and you should be able to receive it. You shouldn't be doing this if you're a vagabond. If you're traveling all over the place, you need to have a permanent address and a permanent resident. It's not for the guy that's just over here for 6 months, a year. This is for somebody who's going to be here permanently, and the home that you selected is hopefully your permanent home. It could be a P.O. box,
Right.
or something of that nature, but you have to have a permanent address to receive that once a year letter. And also, you know it's coming. People who say, oh, I didn't get the letter, you know they're mailing out that letter once a year. So you know it's coming. If you don't get it by a certain date, you should be proactive and be contacting, you know, the embassy or Social Security.
Have you tried contacting the embassy or Social Security lately?
Yes, on email I get a quick response. Telephone, forget it. The phone lines are only 3 hours a day, twice a week.
Thank
6
you.
hours out of the whole week, and it's nothing but hold and busy. But the email, you get a response on the email. I don't know if it's a robot type of response, but you get a response. But again, you know, it's things you should be proactive on. It's not for everybody.
Okay.
It's not for everybody.
All right.
But you know, as you added the fees, you know, every time somebody touches it, they take a little bit. You know, people got to take a little bit of money here and there out of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one thing, peace of mind. I have other retirement money coming in, other pension, and I also have income I earn from YouTube, and is
that going to stay in America?
That's going to stay in America. So that gives me two. I'm now worried about the Philippine banking industry. I think as long as the Philippines is a strategic partner to the rest of the world based on its location, you know, with China and Australia and the U.S., nobody's going to let the Philippine bank collapse.
Okay.
So I'm not too worried about it.
Well, on the Medicare thing, I'm going to say it's 50-50. I think Mike makes some really good points on that. As far as saving the money, self-insuring, he's never going to go back to America anyway. Guam's not really an option. And so my little deal is primarily for peace of mind, just by the three examples that I gave you. I like to observe what happens to other people. It's great to learn from your mistakes. It's a lot better to learn from somebody else's.
That's right. We watch other people. This is a personal choice on your Medicare. It's a personal choice. Neither side is right or wrong. But a lot of it has to do on your finances. If you can afford not to pay it, and you want to leave it there and pay for it, and it doesn't, no sweat off your back, you're still going to enjoy the same life, do that. Gives you peace of mind. Peace of mind, you can't put a dollar sign on.
Right. And you know, the thing is with the COLA raises and all that, to me, it just doesn't impact it that much. Yeah, it's $174. I'm not saying that I've got so much money that doesn't make a change, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change my lifestyle. If I were to have $174 less per month than I have right now, that would just me be having to make an adjustment in how I live my life out here. And we were talking about it today. We were having coffee early this morning, and we decided to do this, that we actually, him and I, have said we could live out here for $1,000 a month if we put our minds to it. If we showed a lot of discipline, if we showed a lot of restraint, if we didn't just toss money away, like today. It cost us 400 pesos to get into here. And so you wouldn't come here if you were trying to stay on, this is Forest Camp, you wouldn't come here if you were trying to stay on 1,000 a day. You would go to a little local place and eat food that you know is clean, that you know is cheap, you know you're not going to get sick from it. Because once you live here for a while, you do find out the places that you can go to, like the locals, where you're not going to get some sort of food poisoning or any disruption or anything like that.
That little place at the plaza in Valencia.
Perfect place.
135 pesos, you get a quarter piece of chicken barbecued, 2 cups of rice, and a 7-Up.
Perfect place.
135.
But I'm going to stick to my guns on the Social Security thing. I see way too many explosions on that. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like the fact that my money that I depend on every month is coming to a foreign country. Foreign countries can be volatile, although I don't think the Philippines is in that category. But stuff happens, things change, and that's just where I'm going to stick on that. But you guys chime in and let us know what you think. And that's kind of like the 2 points that we were going to make in this little video.
I wanted to make one more point on that Social Security. You know, yeah. When you get your Social Security sent to you here, where does it go? It goes in your Philippine bank account.
Right.
So the argument that the bank, am I going to build a large savings in that bank account off my Social Security? No, my Social Security is just a little bit more than my monthly living expenses.
Well, you do have a unique experience in that you've got other funds going into America. Yes. I'm saying for the people, so yeah, I'll give you that point. It makes sense. We talked about that earlier. You've got YouTube revenue going in there. You've got another pension of some sort going in there. So it's not like you're putting all your eggs in one basket. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I've got my eggs in a basket in America, and I've got 2 banks over here. So my eggs are deposited in different hen houses throughout the Philippines.
It basically boils down to what you're comfortable with, what your tolerance for pain if your money is held up for 2 months.
Yeah.
You know,
can you withstand that?
Can you? That's a big one.
Can you withstand if you went for 2 months, no checkie? Okay, no checkie, no lovey. I don't know what to tell you.
I could go without the lovey, but not the checkie.
Yeah, yeah. Money is a beautiful instrument. And
it helps everybody.
We're about to get a barrage here
of beautiful women, young
wonderful
men.
Filipino locals that are enjoying themselves here at the world-renowned forest camp. So we're just going to talk over them talking for a minute as we try to continue here on our video. Because, as you well know, I don't edit.
He doesn't edit.
All right, so what else? We've experienced some collapses in people recently. We're not going to get into details on that. But you know what? The problem is they are just talking about money. They are mismanaging their money. They're not setting their priorities straight. If I was to preach one thing, it would be the minute you do get that check that you get every month, pay your rent, pay your electric, pay your friggin' immigration is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And that's the last thing you want to lapse is immigration. That gets behind, you're in trouble. You want to get blacklisted, you want to go to jail, get behind in your immigration paper. Overstay is a brutal, brutal thing. And it's not that expensive. $500-600 a year, I think, is the total. Yeah. You and I, Mike and I, are both in the process of converting over to 13A visas, which is 300 pesos a year.
Yes.
And so once that happens, that's nice. That's a savings. That's one of the little benefits of being married.
And one less hassle every month or every 2 months, renewing your...
One less thing to think about, one less thing to be having to go do. They say you can do it online. I've never had to because I've always been in this process since then. I've heard good and bad about the online. It's like anything you do online. Sometimes it goes smooth, other times it tosses you out at the last
Just look
minute.
what happened last week with the Microsoft, all the computers going down at the airports, some banks in Europe. You never know what's going to happen. You got to be able to weather a storm.
Yeah.
And you have to prepare for that 2-week, 4-week, 8-week period where things are going to be hard to get. What if look at Manila right now with the flooding from that typhoon that went over. 3-4 foot of water in the streets. If you live off that street and your bank's down that street, it ain't going to open for a couple days.
No.
And that ATM's not working. They cut the power.
So in my mind, money is only important to just keep you going through life. I don't mean having a lot of money so you can have flashy stuff or pretend to be rich when you're not, or any of that kind of happy stuff. It's just one of those evil necessities that we have. I give you this worthless piece of paper, and you give me that soda pop or that chicken wing or whatever it is that I want to purchase. It's a great instrument, but when you don't have any of it, it's a tough road to hoe. So we believe in keeping a small stash at the house. It's safe just in case of. Sometimes we'll go to the ATMs and they're not working or they're out of money, especially on a holiday.
Holiday
or
Sunday.
Today's Friday, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so today's Friday, so this is payday, so everybody's running down and getting money. So I don't know if you can hear us over the kid yodeling behind us or not.
This is a kid hangout. School's just getting ready to go back, and everybody's on their last weekend of fun. And this is the Philippines, man. You gotta love it. You want peace and quiet? Look for the coffin.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, that's the only place you'll find it. All right, well, that's it for this video, kids. Mike, you got anything to add?
Other than this is a personal choice. We both want to let you guys, what you do with your Social Security, where it goes, if you keep your Medicare. You need to know your family history, know your health, know the condition you're in before you get here, and prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Oh, and one other thing that we talked about that we never touched on. I'm going to try to talk over these people behind us. Make sure that if you don't have a significant other, you don't have a wife or a girlfriend, if it's just you by yourself, make sure you have somebody somewhere, even if it's an attorney, that you are in an accident, you're mentally incapacitated, that can help you access your funds, someone that you trust. So if I was to get knocked on the head tomorrow and can't remember my name, much less my password, well, my wife's got access to everything. But if you're a single person over here, man or woman, and you get into that situation, is there a plan B? Do you have someone that you can trust? And if you don't have a friend or someone close that you feel comfortable sharing that information with, there's always an attorney. And you can hand out some business cards to your neighbors or whatever, say, if anything happens to me, will you please contact this attorney? And you can work a deal with him, sort of like a living will kind of thing, where
Something like
someone
that.
they can I don't know if living will is the right way to put it, but somewhere that somebody somewhere can get you functioning and keep
And we
the
both
cash flow.
agree the big fear here, death is not a fear. If you die,
No.
things will go on. But if you have a stroke and you need to
Yeah.
continue your life, but you can't work a keyboard, or you can't remember, or you're blind or temporarily paralyzed, you have to trust somebody.
Yeah.
And the longer you're here, the more you should be honing in on somebody you can trust.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to call that a video. I hope this generates a few comments. And you have a YouTube channel, so
I
I
got a
go ahead and
YouTube channel.
shamelessly promote it right here, right now.
And I got a video. Paul's going to put a link in the description to my video about Social Security, getting it deposited here, and giving up that Medicare. Don't waste your money.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you will.
All right. We'll see you in the next video.